Imagine a life where negative energy can no longer touch you. Every storm of emotion, every harsh word, every judging gaze all pass over you like the wind over a still lake, leaving no ripple in your mind. That is not indifference. It is the power of one who has mastered their own mind, calm like water, reflecting everything without being tainted by anything. In a restless world like ours, how many can still preserve that serenity? Most people live in reaction. When someone says something unpleasant, they get angry. When life turns against them, they grow sad. When bad news arrives, they worry. Their entire lives are driven by external conditions like a leaf carried by the current, joyful at times, despairing at others, never truly free. But the Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." From that realization, we understand that true freedom does not come from changing circumstances, but from training the mind not to be shaken by them. When the mind is clear, everything outside becomes light. When the mind is at peace, the world follows suit. Peace is not a gift bestowed upon us. It is the result of inner purification. The more deeply you understand yourself, the less space negativity finds to cling. Those who have attained tranquility are not free from chaos. They have simply learned to keep their minds still amidst the storm. From that point, no wound lingers, and every hardship becomes an opportunity to understand oneself better. And that is what we will explore today: 7 Buddhist lessons on transforming energy, purifying the toxins of the mind, and inviting serenity back into your life. 7 gateways, guiding you from chaos to stillness, from tension to ease, from fear to calm. Each lesson is a step home, back to your own mind, pure, luminous, and untouchable. Life never promises calm seas, but you can become the one who remains unmoved among the waves. When you learn to purify negative energy, you no longer fear darkness nor resist the world. You simply stand firm within yourself. And so the journey begins, the inward journey to find peace, not by avoiding the storm, but by learning how to stand still in the rain. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the highest state of awareness. In silence, the mind no longer wanders into the past or fears the future. It simply exists clear and pure like a mirror. The Buddha taught, one who can stop speaking is one who can truly listen to himself. When we speak less, we begin to hear more, not the noise outside, but the true voice within. Every unnecessary word is an arrow of ignorance. It can wound others and cloud the heart. But when we know how to pause, how to stay silent, we preserve our energy, clarity, and inner peace. Silence is the empty space from which wisdom arises. The more spiritually mature one becomes, the less they feel the need to prove anything. They do not speak to win nor argue to be right, for they know that the energy of speech springs from the quality of the mind. If the mind is restless, words will carry anger. If the mind is dim, words will lack wisdom. Thus, sometimes wisdom lies not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. Timely silence is an act of compassion. It prevents us from sowing seeds of suffering through speech. Learn to listen more, not only to others, but to yourself. Listen to your emotions, to the subtle waves rising within before they turn into words. When you can pause for just 1 second before reacting, just one, you transform the entire current of negative energy about to flow outward. That is, the sacred space between reaction and choice, the birthplace of freedom. Practicing silence daily is training in mindfulness. Spend a few minutes each day not speaking, not looking at your phone, just observing your breath and your mind. In silence, you can hear the echo of truth. You realize you do not need to join every conversation, defend against every criticism, or prove anything at all. In silence, self-respect blooms and peace takes root. Silence does not mean avoidance or apathy. It is a conscious act of protecting the mind from being swept away by chaos. One who knows silence is cultivating inner strength. Each time you choose silence, you accumulate merit, the merit of awareness, compassion, and unspoken wisdom. Remember, silence does not make you weak. It makes you grounded. Only when the mind is truly still can it see things as they are. And in this noisy world, the one who keeps silence is not detached from life. They simply stand higher, calm, and unshaken, while the wind blows all around. No one can be truly free if they still live to please others. When your peace is shaken by the gaze and words of people around you, you have surrendered your sovereignty over yourself. Each human being is born to walk their own path, yet most lose their way amid the noise of praise and blame, right and wrong, winning and losing. The Buddha taught, one who lives in mindfulness is not bound by worldly words, for the opinions of others are nothing more than reflections of their own minds, not truths about you. Everyone sees life through the lens of their own experiences, biases, and wounds. Therefore, what they perceive of you is never the whole truth. When you care too much about what others think, you unknowingly hand them the key to your peace. A single compliment can make you happy. A single criticism can crush you. That is the mark of an unsettled mind. True serenity begins when you stop chasing approval. You need no one's agreement to be worthy. No one has the right to define the path you must take. Every external voice is merely wind. Your direction must come from the light within. The wise neither resist others' opinions nor strive to please them. They simply understand and let go. They know that judgment is the instinct of those who have yet to understand themselves, while silence is the choice of those who understand life. For if you keep responding to every remark, you will forget the most important voice, the voice of your own heart. Only when you live authentically, without pretending, without embellishment, will you attract genuine relationships and truly positive energy. Remember, everyone is busy living their own lives. Today they praise you, tomorrow they criticize you, and the day after they forget you altogether. But if you keep turning with every shift of the wind, you will never grow roots. A steadfast mind is like a mountain. The wind may blow, the clouds may drift, but the rock remains unmoved. Confidence does not mean believing you are always right. It means trusting that you have the clarity to keep walking, even when misunderstood. From this moment on, do not let the need for approval become an invisible chain. Live by what brings peace to your heart, not by what briefly pleases others. When you are no longer swayed by praise or blame, you will discover a new kind of freedom, inner freedom, untouchable and unshakable, where you no longer need to prove yourself, only to live truthfully. And in that state, negative energy dissolves, giving way to the strength of confidence, peace, and self-mastery. Self-reflection is the mirror of the awakened. Without it, one lives forever in illusion, believing oneself to be right, to be the victim to live in an unjust world. But when you dare to look within, you realize that the true enemy is not outside, but hidden within every distorted thought. The Buddha said, "One who can observe himself, even for a moment, is worth more than one who recites 1,000 sutras with a distracted mind." Reflection, then, is not mere self-criticism. It is the art of seeing the root of suffering. When you pause to observe your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you begin to understand why you lose your temper, why you feel hurt, why you repeat the same fears. And that understanding is liberation itself. Those who do not reflect live by instinct. They let emotions control them, then blame circumstances. Those who reflect live by awareness. They take responsibility for each thought, each action, each word. Between these two ways of being lies an entire world. One is carried by the current, the other commands its flow. When you learn to observe your mind daily, you will see that negative energy does not arise on its own. It is sustained by ignorance of oneself. Each day, spend a few quiet minutes asking, how did I react today? Did that action come from love or from fear? Is my mind turned outward or inward? The answers need not be spoken. They only need to be seen clearly. For only with awareness do you gain the power to choose differently. Without awareness, every effort is in vain, like one who holds a lamp but keeps his eyes shut. Reflection is not for self-blame but for self-healing. Do not view your mistakes through judgment, but through compassion. A mistake is a lesson, not a sentence. When you dare to look into your own darkness without fear, the light of wisdom naturally appears. In the very moment you pause to observe, you cease to be the victim of emotion and become the witness of it, and that is the first step to freedom. Remember, the mind is not strengthened by praise but by confrontation. Each time you look at yourself with honesty, you cleanse another layer of ignorance from your soul. A day without reflection is a day lived without truly knowing yourself. Yet a single moment of sincere introspection can redirect the course of your life. For true transformation never comes from escape, it comes from the courage to sit still and look deeply into your own heart. The space you live in reflects the state of your mind. A cluttered room is often the mirror of a restless soul. A desk buried under piles of papers, a closet overflowing with things you no longer need, all quietly whisper that you are not yet ready to let go. Buddhism teaches, the mind is like water and matter is like the vessel. When the vessel is impure, the water cannot be clear. When your surroundings are filled with chaos, energy grows heavy, and the mind easily sinks into fatigue, stagnation, and negativity. If you seek peace first, you must clear. If you seek clarity first, you must release. Purifying your space is not mere physical cleaning, it is a ritual of mindfulness. Each time you fold a shirt, wipe away the dust, or organize your desk, you are affirming to yourself, I deserve to live in order and peace. Every small act is a declaration of self-worth, a practice of stillness within motion. When the table is clean and sunlight floods through the window, your mind brightens too. Fresh energy begins to flow and heavy thoughts naturally dissolve. Yet purification does not end with the outer space. Buddhism reminds us that the greatest cleansing is that of the mind. You can scrub your house spotless, but if your heart is full of resentment, regret, or worry, you are still dwelling in a room of suffering. Learn to release old thoughts and memories that no longer nourish you. Just as opening a window invites fresh air, opening your heart allows new energy to enter. Each time you recognize a negative thought and choose not to feed it, you are clearing a corner within your mind. A simple practice each morning. Before your day begins, take a moment to look around and ask, what here is no longer necessary? Then turn inward and ask, what emotion within me no longer serves my peace? Remove both. Clean the outer to lighten the body, clean the inner to lighten the heart. That is the path back to deep equilibrium. Purifying your space and mind is a twin journey. A clean room sharpens the mind. A clear mind makes the space serene. When the outer and inner harmonize, peace flows naturally. Remember, you cannot plant flowers in barren soil, nor find tranquility amid clutter. Cleanse not just your home, but your soul. Only when everything is in order can life truly make room for light and peace to dwell. Simplicity is not the absence of things. It is the presence of enough to be calm, to be clear, to live without being weighed down by excess. In Buddhism, simplicity is the root of peace. The fewer your desires, the greater your serenity. When you enter an uncluttered space, your mind naturally settles. In contrast, living amidst disorder scatters your focus, for your environment mirrors your inner world. If you wish to clear your heart, start by tidying your home. If you wish to brighten your mind, begin by removing what no longer serves you. Look around and observe, how many things do you keep simply because you fear losing them? How many keepsakes because you fear forgetting? How many purchases because you fear not having enough? Every unnecessary possession is an invisible chain, binding your mind. When you hold on to too much, you are telling the universe, I am not ready for the new. Letting go, therefore, is not loss. It is creating space for something better to arrive. To live simply is not to live poorly, it is to live selectively. Among countless glittering distractions, you choose only what truly nourishes you, a quiet corner, a good book, an unhurried morning. That is the luxury of a soul that knows sufficiency. When everything is arranged in order, energy flows naturally through your home. You focus more easily, think more clearly, and act more decisively. Outer order cultivates inner discipline, a silent strength known only to the mindful. Each day, take one small action to simplify your life. Fold the shirt after wearing it. Put things back after use. Delete files that no longer matter. Release a relationship that drains your spirit. Do not see these as trivial. From such small details, character is shaped, and wisdom is refined. The orderliness of life is the foundation of inner freedom. Those who live simply are no longer trapped in the spiral of wanting more. They understand impermanence, that nothing is worth trading peace for. When you stop chasing possessions, you begin to live authentically. When the mind holds less, life holds more peace. Simplicity is the art of one who has understood the nature of happiness. It lies not in addition, but in subtraction. Remember, the more complicated life becomes, the easier it is for the mind to lose its way. Reorganize your space, remove the excess, establish order in your daily rhythm. Clarity outside leads to lucidity within. When everything around you becomes simple, you will see peace was never far away. It was merely waiting for you to clear enough space for it to return. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the highest expression of wisdom. Those who forgive do not do so because they have forgotten the hurt, but because they understand that clinging to resentment is like setting fire to oneself. The Buddha said anger is like holding a burning coal, intending to throw it at another. It is your hand that burns first. Every time we refuse to forgive, we bind ourselves to the past, allowing old memories to govern the present. Forgiveness does not mean denying what happened. It means ending the power of the past to keep wounding us. Anger and hatred are like stones tied to the neck, dragging us beneath the waters of peace. When we forgive, we are not excusing another's fault. We are releasing our own heart. Forgiveness is the act of the strong, those who dare to face their pain, understand it, and then let it go. The weak run from their pain. The strong face it and transform it. Thus, forgiveness is not a gift for others, but a gift you give yourself. True forgiveness begins with forgiving yourself. There are mistakes we carry year after year, blaming and punishing ourselves, unable to let go. Yet no one can change the past, only learn from it. Look back at your errors with understanding you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Self-blame deepens suffering. Self-understanding brings liberation. When you embrace yourself with compassion, the old wounds begin to close. Next comes forgiving others. Remember, everyone acts from their own level of awareness. Those who hurt you are themselves suffering within. When you can see their pain, your heart softens. Forgiveness does not erase memory. It removes memory's power over you. You still remember, but you no longer ache. You still see, but you no longer resent. Practice meditation on forgiveness. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and visualize the person who hurt you. Imagine a soft light surrounding both them and yourself. Inhale and feel the pain. Exhale and let it dissolve. Silently say, I release. I choose peace. This practice will not change the other person, but it will transform how you see them, and that is true freedom. Forgiveness is a journey, not a single moment. There will be days when you think you have let go, yet the heart still stings. Do not force it. Continue the practice, for each act of forgiveness is an act of peace. To forgive is not to forget it, is to be unbound by the past. When your heart no longer holds resentment, the world feels lighter, brighter, and you at last are free. Nothing in life is permanent. Everything changes. That is the nature of the universe. Joy turns to sorrow, union to separation, rise to fall. Yet humans still cling and grasp, trying to hold on to what cannot be held. And in that clinging, suffering is born. The Buddha taught, it is because we do not understand impermanence that we fear loss. When we understand it, we realize nothing is truly lost. To understand impermanence is not to become pessimistic, but to love life more deeply, because knowing that every beginning has its end makes each moment infinitely precious. Everything you have today, family, health, work, happiness, is but a guest. One day each will depart like clouds drifting across the sky. If you cling, you will hurt. If you accept, you will be free. Impermanence is not a warning, but a reminder to live. Because time is limited, we cherish the present. Because everything changes, we stop complaining. Impermanence teaches gratitude, for even sorrow does not last forever. When we resist change, we resist nature itself. All suffering begins with resistance, wanting joy to stay, wanting loss to vanish, wanting life to stand still. But life never stands still. A river is only a river because it flows, and life only has meaning when it moves. When we learn to flow with the current instead of fighting it, we discover peace within change. Impermanence also teaches us the art of letting go. When you realize that all things are temporary, you cling less, crave less, and anger less. What hurts you today will one day fade into a distant memory. So why let it steal your peace now? When you see that nothing lasts, you no longer need to control everything, for control is illusion, while acceptance is wisdom. Practice mindfulness to feel impermanence in each breath. Feel your heartbeat shifting, your breath entering and leaving, sounds arising and fading. Every moment is birth and death. Seeing this, you realize that every emotion, fear or joy, is but a wave passing across the ocean of your mind. Do not cling, simply witness. In that witnessing, peace appears naturally. Impermanence takes nothing from you. It only returns you to yourself. When you are no longer bound to what changes, you become truly free. When you know all things will pass, fear disappears. When you understand that life is a flowing stream, you stop grasping at each droplet. Live as one who knows time is more precious than gold. Cherish each moment. Love fully, release swiftly. In the end, impermanence is not loss, but the doorway to wisdom, gratitude, and absolute freedom. Cleansing negative energy is not a technique. It is a way of life. It is the journey of learning how to keep your mind calm amid the storm, how not to let the outer world disturb the inner one. These 7 Buddhist lessons are not meant to be memorized, but to be practiced every day, in every breath, every glance, every small reaction. For peace is not something that comes from outside. It is the fruit of conscious choices made within. When you learn the power of silence, you stop sowing conflict through words. When you no longer live under the gaze of others, you reclaim your freedom. When you reflect inwardly, you illuminate the mind and wash away the dust of ignorance that has settled for years. When you clear your space and release what no longer serves you, you create room for new energy to flow in. When you live simply and with order, you discover clarity and balance in each moment. When you practice forgiveness, you free your soul from invisible chains. And when you embrace impermanence, you enter the realm of true freedom, where fear of loss dissolves, and only the serenity of understanding remains that all things come and go like the breath. These lessons are not separate threads. They form a single circle of transformation. Silence nourishes awareness. Awareness opens the path to release. Release creates space for peace, and peace allows compassion to arise. When you walk that full circle, negativity naturally dissolves, for darkness cannot exist where there is light. Remember, cleansing negative energy is not about escaping the world, but about living within it without being ruled by it. You need not retreat to a mountain or a monastery. You only need to turn inward, listen, and live in alignment with the light of your own mind. Every mindful action, every kind thought, every moment you choose, calm over reaction, all are acts of purification. The world outside may remain noisy, but you can become the one who stands still in the storm. For peace does not come when life grows lighter, it comes when your mind grows steady. Choose to live like still water, reflecting everything but holding on to nothing. Live like a lamp, not fighting the dark, simply shining. For in the end, the one who masters their own energy needs not conquer anyone else. They have already conquered themselves.